Welcome everyone. This is the first session for Hacktoberfest, Introduction to Git and GitHub for Beginners with Hacktoberfest. And our today's speaker is Chethana Gopinath. Chethana has been working as a software engineer for Realtor.com, and she has completed her master's from SUNY Brigham. And so she has quite a lot of industry experience, and she'll be able to walk us through Git the session. Over to you, Chetna.
Awesome. So welcome everybody to Introduction to Git and GitHub for Hacktoberfest. In this session, we're going to talk about this is a beginner session. I wouldn't say like you would need too much of experience with GitHub or understand too much about it because we're going to be breaking them down here. We're going to touch on many things briefly. So yeah, let's get started. Today's agenda is introducing what Git is, GitHub, open source, and Hacktoberfest. And then once we get an idea of what they are, we're then going to look at the flow of how to create pull requests, which is your contribution to a repository, and how you're gonna work with feature branches and repositories, and how you're gonna commit code, which will result in the pull request at the end. So we're gonna be talking about that, and then we'll talk about briefly about the repository that you'll be contributing to, and then we'll do while we do the demo, we'll talk about the repository. And so in the demo, I'll be talking about how to fork this project. Mansi and Elisa, they have like the links that they'll be sharing in the chat. And then I'll be talking about how to make changes and create a PR. And after that, there's some additional stuff that I want to talk about because this is open source and it is Hacktoberfest. So it's kind of, we all have opinions about it. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. And I say a lot of super early in the morning, but let's continue. Okay. So what is Git? Git is the most popular open source distributed version control system. A lot of words there, but let's talk about the last three words in that sentence. Actually, last four. Distributed version control system. What is a version control system? First of all, it helps you basically version your source code. So you have maybe a project that you're working on locally, and you are trying to collaborate with a bunch of people to share your changes and to get their changes and so on and so forth. And you have this project.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chethana, for this amazing presentation. Everyone, please drop, a heart or plus or applause emoji in the chat. Like, we're really grateful you stuck with us for this entire presentation. And we also have like more upcoming Hacktoberfest events this month. We'll have one on Tuesday with Lisa, who's actually one of the organizers of the event, and she'll be talking more about finding open source projects, more about what is Hacktoberfest, like in detail, nitty gritty, and about Cloud Haiku. So we'll be working on, I think, pushing PRs like using Cloud. And another one later this month will be with the data API with Openverse. So yeah, and I think I posted in the chat, I can see Chethana's really happy with like all these flame emojis and hearts. Chethana, you did an amazing presentation. Like, I really loved all the conversations going on and like your support for everyone. I wish we could like have a good event so that we could, cover the content again for people who couldn't like stay the full time. Oh yeah, and everyone, please wish Chethana an early happy birthday. Her birthday's next week. So happy early birthday, Chethana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Liza.
Yeah. And if you're looking for more projects, I believe, yes, you can look up with the tag Hacktoberfest on GitHub.
In your local And you also want to keep track of the history of your project, like where it came from, and like what its versions are. For all of that, you use a version control system. And what is a distributed version control system? So before doing all of this versioning and collaborating with people, it was difficult because if you take they were called centralized version control systems, where there would be like a central server or a place where a bunch of people, all of you, contribute your code into. And the headache or hassle there was that you have to make sure that your local copy has to be completely up to date, and like when you push changes, or there'll be a lot of errors. We were using a different version control system back like many years ago. So now Git is a little bit better, and it's not a little bit, but it's awesome, and it's got so many quick, fast workflows within it that it's the most popular version control system in the world. I spoke about that a lot now, but I'll get to the open source portion of this in a little bit. So yeah, it allows you to manage, track, and version your local source code history within your repository. Okay, cool. So how do you exactly set this up? Mostly it comes out of box, I think, because like in your Mac or like your Windows laptops or whatever, if you type git -- version, you should be able to see the version number. I'm gonna try showing you right now. I didn't think I'd open up the terminal now, but okay, cool. Okay, so if you type git -- version, you should get something like this. I hope everybody can see my screen. Can you see the terminal? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, cool. So, okay, so when you type this, you should get this. You should get, and this is a terminal window. This is kind of like it's kind of like where you run commands to create repository. Create directories, manage it, files. There's a lot of these are bash commands, and you could do a lot of it here. I don't want to go into deeper into this right now, because that's like kind of like a separate session. I'll just mention certain commands that you would need to go through this whole flow. Okay, I'm gonna get back real quickly. So I said install it from here, and of course I forgot to put in the link for that. So I'll kind of I'll when we get to the demo portion, or like the working through portion of it, I'll paste the link, and we can see if if people have it or not. Okay. That was Git. What is GitHub? So Git and GitHub are completely misunderstood by a lot of people. So when you think of Git, you think of repositories within like your local system. Repositories is like your project, like something like you have a simple application, and you have a HTML file even, and like if you type git init within it, it would become a repository, and you could version it, you could track it, everything, all of the fun stuff, branch from it. But yeah, so GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service for Git repositories. So both Git and GitHub, they manage source code, but GitHub has additional like collaboration and project management tools, because you can review others' code. You can do everything remotely. When you take Git and kind of amplify it to reach a lot of people and to add a lot of like asynchronous activity and stuff, you'll get GitHub, something like that. So they're not the same. They're completely different things. And how do you set up to join GitHub or something? You have to create an account, and this link, I think we have links for that too. So you'll have time to, like, if you haven't created an account already, you'll have time to do that when we do the hands-on or the demo. But yeah. Okay, so spoke about Git and GitHub. What is open source? Let's say you're working on a project and you have it in your local, right? So right now that code is only visible to you, and you don't really have a lot of other activity on it other than you. And even if you push it to GitHub as like a private repository or something like that, even then you wouldn't have a lot of maybe if you're working with a team, like a close group of members, you're working on the project together, and you can the source code or like your code from the project, it can only be viewed by the team members and you. So that's not open source. So what is open source? Then you have a repository where anybody in the world can look at the code, can make a copy of your repository and contribute code or anything, documentation stuff, the fixing bugs, whatever, like any contribution. If they can make it to your repository, that's an open source repository or open source software. So Git is open source. The Git tool that we spoke about, that is also open source. And the source code in an open source software is open and anybody can contribute to it. And when I say like I put the hyphen for contribute to it, because in every repository, let me talk about where these open source repositories are. So most famous service that has these like open source repositories is GitHub. Think GitLab, think also Bitbucket, but I'm not too sure about that. But the most popular one is GitHub, and so like you can see actual like repositories. Let me actually, you know what? I thought I wouldn't switch to this, but let me do it. Let's do explore because we just want to explore. And if you see, okay, if you see here, somebody's talking about, somebody's written an interactive code editor, and then this, what is this? Yeah, it's something called Open Food Network. So there's like so many repositories for you that like these are all open. All of the code here, anybody can view, anybody can contribute to. So that's essentially what open source is. And open source software is code that can be seen, modified, and distributed by anyone. And this is from Red Hat. And so each open source repository will have a like a README where they mention. Let me actually go to one. Let's see. Oh, black is really cool. So each of it, they'll have a contributing. Oh, can you see the text in the screen clearly? Can you get a thumbs up? Okay, thank you. So each project will have like a contributing.md or like a README where they mention how to contribute to it, or like, you know, like what are the rules. Yeah, if you go into anything, you'll have all of this. It'll either be in the README, it would either be in this contributing.md file. Okay, so spoke about that too now. And this is more like, I don't really have a fixed pattern for this session where I don't want to just stick to the, like, I don't want to just stick to the slides. I want to keep like moving around, just showing or talking about things. And remember, this is an interactive session. So if you have any like questions or something like that, leave it in chat. If I'm going weirdly slow, let me know. I'll speed it up because I talk a lot. Okay, so we spoke about open source now. What is Hacktoberfest, right? It's a month-long celebration of open source where folks can make valuable contributions. to open source software. And this is organized by DigitalOcean. I think it's been going on for 9 years or so, or is this the 10th year? Yeah, something like that. I've been participating for the past 3 years, ever since I knew about this whole you could actually contribute code to the things that you use, like React, or all of these bigger repositories are there, and you don't really have to contribute to bigger ones. You can pick anything that you're really comfortable with, and we can contribute stuff there. But yeah, that's how I found out about open source in general. And so what do you do in this Hacktoberfest? You create four pull requests if you're a contributor. If you want to participate as a contributor within Hacktoberfest, you have to create 4 pull requests or contributions to any repository in GitHub or GitLab alone. I think I don't know if they're allowing other places. I think it's just GitHub or GitLab, and these repositories that you contribute to, they should be participating in Hacktoberfest account or something like that. We'll talk about that in just a second. Push it to a cloud-based service like GitHub. How do you do it? Right. So there are 2 ways. I've always been doing feature branching because at work, there's a repository, and then we have a formal invitation to the repository, and you're like a contributor there. You have access to contribute or write or read there. So if you have that kind of access, you can straight away do this flow, which is the origin repo. It would be in GitHub. And then you would clone your origin repo into your local, and so that would be like your cloned local repository. And what you would do next is, from your local, you'll create a local branch, right? Your branch is, think of it as a place where you would create, where you would make changes to your code, or it's a space for you. It's a workspace for you to implement that feature, something like that. So it's just there in local right now. So you've cloned it, and you're creating a feature branch from. I'll go over all of this in the demo or the walkthrough. So just go with it for now. So you'll create a feature branch, and then you'll go into your code editor. I use VSCode. Anybody can have anybody can have other favorite code editors that they use. So go into your code editor and make your changes or whatever. And then next you would commit your changes in your local branch. So remember, all of this is in your local. It didn't even go into the remote or origin repository. But once you commit your changes to your local branch, then you're ready to push it to your remote. You can push it to your remote, and then after that, you will create a PR. The PR portion is it's like a piece of code difference, or it's like a contribution that you make within your code that's different from the main branch. Like whatever's on the main branch, you're going to be branching off of it, and then you will work on your code there, and then you'll push it. So every repository will have a main branch, which is the only branch that it comes with, and you will create your own branches, and you will make the changes, create the PR, and delete the branches once you're done, because it keeps accumulating and it's not really cool. So that's feature branching, and don't worry about it. We'll type it out in the terminal, and we'll discuss this. Okay, so this is when you have access to a repository as a contributor. In most of the repositories across the internet, you don't have that kind of access. What do you do then? Something super similar, but you just have to fork the origin repository, and then you work from that origin, from your forked repository, you take the fork, and this is done in GitHub. You take the origin repository and you fork it, and then forking is kind of like creating a copy of the same repository of the original repository. And then once that happens, you do the same flow as before. You pull it, you clone it to your local, make changes, commit the changes, and then instead of creating a PR from the origin repo or whatever, you would kind of go to your fork repo and then check to see if the PR or the pull request that you're creating, it's also called a merge request, because you're trying to merge your changes into the main branch of the origin repository. So yeah, so forgot my train of thought. Yeah, so you make your changes, you create your PR, and then after that you check if the PR would be pushed to the right place. And I'll also talk about that in a little bit. But once that's done, a maintainer will look at it, and then your whatever flow you have for the repository, that would happen. So basically people would review. So I forgot to mention that when you create this PR, this whole process, both of these processes, they're for when you're looking at a repository for the first time and you're working and you want to work with it. So yeah, and once you create your PR, the game doesn't end there, because like you have to make sure that whatever PR you created matches the maintainers and what they want to do or talk about, like their direction for the project. If you put up like non-compliant PRs or something, I think they may try to like move you to the right direction. Or if like some folks like push spammy PRs, and that kind of like brings a lot of pressure on them, on the maintainers. So we'll also, like when I say maintainers, I mean maintainers of the repository on GitHub. They're the ones who have the most access. They'll take care of everything about the project, basically. So creating issues, looking at PRs, reviewing PRs, like updating stuff now and then, deciding the direction of the project. Yeah, all of that fun stuff. So, okay, we spoke about these two things. Now I'm gonna pause for a second and just recap whatever we spoke about so far. We just discussed what Git is, what GitHub is. So Git, in one single sentence, it is used to maintain your local repositories, and it is used to track, maintain history, whatever you want to call it, everything. It's a version control system for your local repository. And then GitHub is a way to manage this local repository you created with Git. And GitHub has many other project management tools, like things to collaborate with teams, etc. And then we spoke about open source, which is code that can be source code that can be viewed, edited, deleted, updated by anybody across the world. And then Hacktoberfest, which celebrates open source, and it kind of encourages people, beginners and like first timers, to just get into this whole world, because it's really beautiful when you get to know it. You get stuck a lot. It's super demotivating some days, but then at the end, when you know that you've helped a repository and like that feeling, it's out of this world. I'm gonna stop talking for a little bit. I'm going to take a quick water break. So by that time, it would be awesome if we could make sure everybody's like signed up in GitHub, and I totally get it, Jessica. I have to like catch up with the chat. There's like a lot of stuff in chat, so I'll catch up with that. But open source, like it's always there. You always feel like things are gonna break. So basically, it would be nice if you could have like registered to Hacktoberfest, like even just setting up your GitHub account and checking if Git is installed in your laptops. That would be really helpful. If you're on Windows, go to your terminal. You type like you search for terminal. If you're on a Windows system, it's a command prompt. So just let me know. And yeah, I'm gonna mute for a little bit. Okay, I am back. Awesome stuff, everybody. Okay, so let me actually yeah, I think the three main components that we're like looking at is we need to have Git, and we need to have GitHub, have a GitHub account. So if folks are already equipped with the GitHub account, we can then look at how to sign up for Hacktoberfest. Okay. And when you get to when you get to the website, you would want to register, or I think it'll be registration is now open. And yeah, okay, so right now this shows GitHub and GitLab. Mostly like we're doing it with GitHub. So let's initiate the GitHub process.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think you could do authorized Hacktoberfest.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. So if you scroll down in this page, okay, so I'll pause right here. How will you be participating? And for everybody, it says contributor, maintainer, event organizer. So unless you're looking to manage a repository and accept pull requests and all that stuff, I think we'll choose contributor for now. Can you just select contributor? Yeah. And then what is your experience level? Put in whatever you're comfortable with.
Newbie to open source and Hacktober.
Yeah, like anything that like works with your experience level. And how would you like to contribute? You could select both code and non-code, or you could just do code or just non-code. So yeah, and then if you're putting in a country, put that in. Okay. So, and this hollow pin, I have no idea. This is like the first time I'm seeing it, but you know, you get badges like when I first it's cool. Just put it in. And these things, these are all like, yeah. And the rules and terms, you have to agree to everything. The last ones.
Okay.
The others are all like marketing emails.
Okay.
That's right. So if you basically choose these options, you can, if you check it, it means that you're okay with receiving like emails from either like all of those companies. I think you can just register at this point. Yeah. Awesome. Can you scroll down a little bit? So if you see here, because you have to submit four pull requests, these are all, it just shows a 0 for now. If you go down even more, it says, so basically what will happen is when you submit a pull request, like all of your pull requests will show up here, like one by one, and each of it will have like, I think this time they're doing like a 7-day waiting period, where like if your pull request is spammy or invalid, or it's not accepted by the maintainer of the repository you're pushing your code to, then they would invalidate your pull request or something. And they, as in like the maintainers, like the coordinators of Hacktoberfest, they would not count that PR as a valid contribution or a valid contribution to Hacktoberfest. Yeah. So I think there's like a 7-day period now. Before, I think each year it changes. Last year, I don't even remember what happened. I think they waited like 20 days or something like that. This year they're doing 7 days. And now let's actually get to like creating a PR and submitting a PR for our Hacktoberfest repository. So, okay, so this is the repository we're going to be working with. Basically, how we've set this up is you have a Flask. Flask is a web framework for Python. You have a Flask backend which is where your server runs. I'm not going to go into detail because you don't have to know all of these in detail to actually contribute to this repository. And then you have a front end which is powered using React. So that's one of the most popular like front end open source frameworks there are. There's also Vue, but yeah, I've been using React for a little bit. So yeah, okay. So let's first see how to fork this. We're gonna do it together. Okay. Okay. So you're gonna have to go into fork. So basically, this is not me. This is me. Okay, yeah. So basically, once you click on fork, you'll get into this page. And essentially what now that I have already forked this repo, so I'm gonna try and see if I can delete that fork and redo it. But if I'm not able to, can you make sure that your GitHub account username is in here? And then like you can name your own, like you can name it however you want. I'm just gonna leave it as is with the Hacktoberfest 22 Pythonic stories. And then you will add an optional description, and then you will click copy the main branch only for now, and then you'll click create fork. So basically all of the settings as is. I'll just make sure that your username is in here. Fork is over here, and I've already been working with it, so I'll explain all of this in a second. But when you go to your forked branch, forked repo, you go into this code portion of it, and then you click on HTTPS, and then you choose, you copy this, and make sure you already have like your Git set up in Git client in your local, because that is we're essentially at the, okay, we have forked the repo. Now we have to clone it and make sure that it's present in our like local. We're at that position. Okay, so we're just going to copy this, and then we're going to kind of, for my purposes, I'm going to create like a new basically, I'm going to create a new directory or a folder in my local, and then I'm going to put this in here because I've already forked it, and I don't want to like mess things up. So I said clone a million times now, so I'm going to this is basically my home, like local home directory, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to type mkdir. And I'm going to first say Hacktoberfest. Okay, so what does this do? Mkdir is make directory, and this is like creating a folder, like if you go into your files explorer or whatever, and then you create folder. How to navigate terminal? Okay, so if you have, can you find command? If you're on Windows, click the Windows. Are you on Windows, Jessica? Mac. Okay, so can you do command space together, and you'll have like a spotlight search or something like that. Can you type terminal there? Yeah, when you type it and then hit enter, and then you should see something like this. Okay, cool, awesome. So wherever you are at, if you want to create like a new create like a new directory or new folder where this other folder, your forked repository, should live, then do mkdir, which is make directory, and I'm going to name my directory Hacktoberfest for now. This is like a folder within a folder. So even if you don't create a directory, you just type the next sentence, next command that I'm typing, it would be a folder in itself. Okay, so like kind of like, okay, let me show you this. So when you hit mkdir Hacktoberfest, there are like many files that will like get listed. But if you, but let me actually go into Hacktoberfest. So when you create this, no, let me do this. And then if you type cd Hacktoberfest, yeah, for Windows. Okay, sorry, I just looked at that quick and came in. But after you create your repository, after you create your directory, cd is for going into a specific directory, and you can cd into a directory or you can cd out of it. So if I type cd ... now if you notice, I'm in Hacktoberfest. If I type, let me type pwd, which is present working directory, which is, it will show you a path of where you are in your terminal. And if it's like going super quick, like all of these like commands, I can type out like a quick cheat sheet kind of thing at the end where we go through this again. But you don't like, these are certain commands that you kind of have to know when you navigate through through any folder. Yeah, so you type pwd, again, a pwd is present working directory. So you see users and then my name because it's my like laptop, and then you have Hacktoberfest, and it will be different for different people. So everybody, it would be awesome if you could type git -- version right now. So we're currently at this Hacktoberfest folder that I created for this purpose. So present working directory is Hacktoberfest. Now that we're here, let's do git clone. Now you want to clone the fork repository into your local. So git clone. And once you're done here, Yeah. So once you're done here, you can see all of this, right? Like it's cloning into the specific folder. So far, we didn't really have anything in Hacktoberfest in the Hacktoberfest folder. So if you type ls, now you have Hacktoberfest Pythonic story, Hacktoberfest 22 Pythonic stories, which is your the cloned repository. Okay, I'm gonna type clear, which is also ls is it lists all of the files that are in your current folder. I'm gonna type clear and then hit enter. It's not going anywhere. It's just on top here. It kind of just moved me to a new page. So it's not like it cleaned everything up, but out of sight, out of mind. So yeah, okay. Let's now go into yeah. When you type cd and then space, whichever directory you're going to go into. So HA, I know that mine is Hacktoberfest 22. If you type HA and then type tab, it does an auto completion for you. You don't have to like type everything or know all the folders. So once you do this, hit enter. Cool. So automatically, like I set up my theme to show the branch that I'm on the side. And again, themes and all this, it could be a different discussion. For now, just know that this is the branch that I'm on currently. What do we do now, right? We just know that there are like folders and files in here. So how do you get to them? Use your favorite code editors, whatever you have, whatever is your favorite. So I have set up my, I don't know how I set it up. It was a long time ago in Google search, but I have my code editor set up like this. If I type code dot, okay. So I have set up my code, like if I type code dot, I think it's in Elias somewhere. Yeah, okay. If I type it, it opens up the repository or the local repository in my VSCode, which is pretty cool. So this is what we have. It's a basic project to display stories. Okay, so I'll talk about how to display stories in just a second. Let's actually break up this demo into two, right? So we're first going to all like do contributions, and then we'll run it locally. I have not deployed this into production, like proper production yet, but like we can see that like I've put in like local setup instructions in the README in the GitHub repository as well. So we can go through that together. Basically, how we got to VS Code. So you can type, you can actually just, I typed code dot because I set it up like that, but let's do it this way. I'm gonna quit this. Okay, I'm gonna quit the opened window that I had, and I'm going to select VS Code now. I have it set it up in my doc, but if not, if you're on Mac, command space, and then you'll get like your search bar, and then you type VS Code. Like wherever you have your application, find it, open it. Yeah. So basically, you will be at a point where it says get started. Oh, something like this. Get started. I trust the folder, and like I give permissions. Cool. So you go into this recent. So once you're here, open the project that you're at, that you want. Just like for now, I think we have this forked repository. So like in our local, and it's on our desktop. So let's just open that, and we'll get to this page where this part where it would show you your project. So yeah, so back end, front end, we just spoke about it just now. So what are we going to do in this specific like project? I wanna like take a second and wait, let me zoom this in. It's not looking that big, I think. Okay, let me move this again. Cool. So we have something called stories.json. So what is a JSON file? It's kind of like a format that we are using right now. It's a bunch of it's a way you can structure your data. Okay, just for now, think of it that way. It's a way you can structure this data, this specific data. How am I structuring it? So basically, how I'm setting it up is I'm starting with if you've ever written stories, or if you've seen these kinds of things online where people would be like, okay, this is a prompt today. Like, no, let me think of an exciting prompt. It was like it was an overcast day, and then there was blood all over the room, and then they just do like dot 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 or whatever, dark and stormy night, yes, something like that, and then you have to continue the rest of it, right? So something, yeah, so something like that, and that's a prompt. That's what we've thought about. So we have a prompt, and because this is like Python, we wanted to like kind of make it more Pythonic. So there was once a Python snake named PyPy, and this PyPy lived in the great jungles, and he was an avid reader. So something like that. I'm going to post this. Like there are two prompts that we've put in. So I'm going to post these two prompts, and the part you're going to contribute to is the content. So let me first get the local, like, no, I'm gonna do it like this. So let's see. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna put in the prompts and then like completed stories. So basically, what I want your help with is helping me fill the content portion of the prompt. So this, let me kind of do prompt 1. This is prompt 1, and then this is prompt 2. I'm going to show you the example that I came up with. It's not that cool. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to my story writing skills, but there are these two prompts and they're connected, right? So there was once a Python PyPy who lived in the great jungles, who was an avid reader, and then dot 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 dot. You fill in with whatever you want, and then once in the local library, PyPy came across a book called, wait, feel like I lost you all. Let me, okay. So once in the local library, PyPy came across a book called Learn Python the Hard Way, and really wanted to learn Python, and then dot dot dot. So you have to fill in with, like maybe a bunch of sentences. Basically, what I've come up with is just sad. For prompt 1, I did something like this as a continuation. So it's like prompt 1 and then this stuff. So it'll be like PyPy lived in the great jungles, avid reader, and then PyPy loved reading books related to programming and working through exercises and all of that. And then for like the second prompt, I think I wrote it here. I'll just show it here. So PyPy really liked working on, so this is after once in the local library, PyPy came across a book called Learn Python the Hard Way. So what did PyPy do after that? They really liked working on topics of the community, so decided to bring like-minded people together. And I think I wrote about the beginner Python study group in here. So and then, like, at the end, everybody learned how to code and all of that. So basically, what this app does is it takes the first prompt, and then it chooses a random prompt from here. I just have 2. And so it picks the first prompt. It takes one from any random thing from the content portion. Content is like an array. So an array or a list is like a bunch of a bunch of elements together in like a sequential pattern. I don't even know how I'm describing arrays right now, but it kind of takes in this prompt, this content, and then this prompt, and then this any one of this content, and then it displays it. And then when you choose, and then there's another small button, which kind of generates a new story based on this content. So I need help with the content portion of it for now. You can also add prompts or like other things like which are connected to this, so we can make like a full Python PyPy story, which is like wholesome and stuff. And then yeah, so for now, it would be awesome if I could get like if I could get help within the content. So for now, I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to show you like where it's situated and stuff. So this is within the backend, like we spoke about, and I will talk about how this works when we run it. And I don't like totally do not expect you to have everything set up to run this for now. So I'll do it in my own pace. But how we're going to create this like this content and push it to GitHub. That's our goal for now. So can I get like one content? This is just for me to show you how we do it. So can I get like a random content for the first prompt? So kind of like there was once a Python named PyPy, avid reader, and then the first time I did PyPy loved reading things related to programming, and then second time I did loved having book clubs. So if we could have another like prompt, we can kind of add it in here like that. We can append it to our current content array. Let me move this one away. Okay.
I can start us off, Chethana, and people can post in the chat. So there once was a Python named PyPy who lived in the great jungle, who was an avid reader. And PyPy was so inspired by reading, they decided to become an author.
So what I did was I'm basically appending the content that Eliza just mentioned. I'm just adding it. I'm just typing comma, and then I'm opening quotations, and then I'm adding it here. And you'll see how all of this comes together in the end. That's why I don't want to show it to you now, because at the end it'll be cool to see it together. But so thank you. So yeah. Okay, so PyPy. I'm typing like Py space Py capital letters because I think PyPy is a package management thing in Python. That's why I'm like kind of separating it out. So was still inspired by reading. They decided to become an author. Cool. Oh, okay, before all of this, I got super excited, so I just started writing things. Before everything, let's look at which branch we are at, right? We're still in main. So far we just we forked that repository, and then we cloned it into our local, and now we're on the main branch. So what should we do now? If you type git check out -b, I'll explain this in a second. And I'm going to type, oh, you will definitely keep your prompts, if possible. Could we have keep looking at the prompts and have like your content ready so that you can share it. You could add content to both of the prompts too. So yeah, cool. So git checkout -b, like any, so this is after the -b, whatever I'm doing is my branch name. So what is a branch, right? It's your workspace. You could do whatever you want for the feature that you're doing. So for now in my brain, like even from work, people usually do their name or like their GitHub or whatever, and then they do / and then the feature that they're working on. So every repository will have different formats of doing this. like if they don't have a format, just do it the way you want. If they specifically mention that branches should look like this, then you should follow that. Otherwise, they would maybe like, they would ask you to change your branch or something. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to say adding content to prompt 1. Okay. So once this is done, what this would do is it would create a new branch. The -b means that you're creating this new branch, and then the checkout means you're currently in main. It would check out to this branch. So it would move to this branch, and your current branch will not be main anymore. It will be this branch. Okay, I'm gonna type enter, and immediately you see that from main, this changed to this, which is the branch name. We can do all of this like setting up stuff later too, which is awesome. If not, like if we don't have like this display, what we can next do is we can type git branch to see which is our current branch. So if you type git branch, you'll see, oh God, okay, you'll see your current branch name right here. And that's cool. So if people are, I'm going to go back again and repeat the command that I did, or paste it in chat. So it's kind of, where is that? Okay. So this, and then branch name, and putting it in chat. So we've checked out and moved to this branch. Now that we're here, let's go back to our code editor. And so basically, I just thought we could add like one, like what Liza mentioned. I want to add it into this this content array. So okay, so how do you get to this file, right? If you go to like your left side pane, you see backend and front end. If you expand backend, you'll see stories.json. And then when you get into that, you see your the JSON file. So when you're here, you hit comma, and like whichever prompt, like if you want to add content to a prompt, you just add comma, and then you go to the next line, and then open quotes, and now you type whatever you wanted to type, py. Cool. So we have added this piece of content. Now what happens is, basically I kind of cheat and have like within VS Code, if you go in extensions, okay, cool. So basically I have like the Git extension. If you don't have it, it's totally okay. I'm going to just use my command line. I'm not going to use Git. But by any chance, do you have the source control portion like in your VS Code or code editor? But make sure whatever thing you're like content or whatever you're adding, like save it, and then you go back to your terminal. Okay, and if you have the source control on the side, you'll see that you'll see your changed file here. So like basically I added this line, which is showing me here. Okay, so I think I kind of missed to mention this step. Of course I did, my brain. But so if you look at if you type git remote -v, if you go back to your terminal and go back to your main branch, that you can do that using, you will currently be in this branch. If you type git branch, you'll see whatever your branch name is. Yeah. So I kind of missed to mention one of the other steps that we have to, like, we should have configured, but like, let's do it now. It's not too late to do it. So I would say go back to your main branch, which is like, go back to your terminal first, and then type git branch. You'll see that you're on your current branch. type git space branch and then hit enter. You'll see you're on your current branch. Let's move to the main branch. So main branch is the root branch of all branches for your repository. So you can type git checkout. Checkout means wherever you're at from that place, you're going to your like, oh, okay, wait. Yeah, like, I'm just wondering if it would say merge, if it would mention any merge requests or something like that. Yeah, so checking out at the, like, just moving to your branch. So if you type git checkout main, yeah, if you type git checkout main, what does it say for you? I'm already on main, so it says already on main. So git space remote. Make sure you're on the main branch. Type git branch. When you type git branch, it'll say main, and then you'll have like a small asterisk. Yeah, that's what it's called, right? So you'll have that next to your main branch. And okay, so okay, cool. So we yeah, so now we make sure on the main branch and then type git remote -v. Git remote, no, yeah. Remote add upstream, and then yeah, now it's so once we're here, if you type git remote, and also like, yeah, if you type git remote -v, you should have something like this. Like the upstream should be set up to your like the actual Hacktoberfest and not like Women Who Code Hacktoberfest 22. And like your origin should be your forked repository. Yeah. And then git checkout space. Now that you've set this upstream and this origin up, you can go back to your branch, you can make the PR, and then you can submit it. So git checkout, yeah, and you don't have to do the -d now because you're not really creating this branch. This branch is already in there in your local, so you're just like moving to it. Git checkout this, and then let's go back to our code editor. After you're in your branch, go back to your code editor and let's see. Go back to your stories and let's add. Oh, okay. Let's add whatever we wanted to add. PyPy. Wait, what did PyPy want to do? Can somebody mention what I? Oh, I feel like
PyPy was inspired to become an author.
Thank you. Okay. So if it's still not going to show me the status, then I'm just gonna like I'll tell you what to do on the side, and I'll continue with it too. I think it'll. So another thing that I did was you see the sparkle went off and like there's a star here. When I set up the theme, when I created the theme, if the branch has like uncommitted changes or something, I made sure to show it like this instead of the sparkle. Sparkle means all done. It's glitter, everything's clean. So yeah, it's a random thing. I don't want to talk about it now, but yeah. So if you type git status, you'll get this. And so why I didn't get it before, like somebody online mentioned that I didn't probably set up the routing, like the upstream and remote properly. So I just tried it out again. Okay, so now you type git add. Generally, if you have a bunch of files to add and you want to add all of them into your Git, you just into your branch, you just type git add dot. If you have certain specific files that you want to add, for example, let's just go with this, right? Git add this. If you do that, it doesn't say anything. But now, if you type git status, this right now, this current file is in staging. These changes are staged. So basically git add and then the file name, or because we're just doing like one file here. Yeah, so if you're just doing one file, you can just do git add space dot, and then it would do your thing. Okay, so once this is done, we're going to do git commit. This is the proper commit to your branch in your local. So once you commit all your changes to your branch, your local branch, you will then push it to your origin branch. So, which is your fork. So you have git commit -m. -m is for the commit message. So this is like a whole thing. Some people some folks just type like random commit messages. If it's like a personal project, I like to type my own stuff too. But if it's like a proper project where people are going to review your code, it's really good practice to have your commit messages clean and also your commits clean. What I mean by that is currently we are changing the stories.json. Sometimes you'll change like a bunch of files and they wouldn't even have like connectivity to each other. And in those cases, you should probably pick and choose what you stage and make your commits clean. So if you're modifying some particular functionality in your backend, you say, oh, like added this functionality in backend, and then choose relevant files and stage those. So that would be adding content to stories.json or something. So once you do this, you'll have one file change, two insertions, one deletion, whatever changes you made, and then you type git status again, and then it says on branch, nothing to commit, working trees clean. Cool. So it's there. The changes are there in your local. So how do you like push it to your remote? So that would be git push -u. This is to set up your origin. Yeah, this is to set up your origin branch from here. So if you type, I'll actually just put in your branch name. You could just do yeah, I think you don't really have to do -u now. Let's try it. Git push origin and then do this. Okay, cool. So now our current content has been pushed to your remote. Let's go back to your remote. And not this, actually, here. So this is our forked repository in our remote, this is our forked repository basically in GitHub. And now you see this thing. It says this branch and had recent changes less than a minute ago, compare and pull request. So this is what you want to do. You click on compare and pull request, and now you're at this page. So basically, this is your main page to create pull requests. And if you see here, because we've set up like our upstream and everything correctly, our base repository is WWCode Hacktoberfest, 22 Pythonic stories. And then this is our main, like, basically we're trying to push whatever is in here. Our head repository, this means that this current forked branch this current forked repository, and then this is the branch. You're kind of taking this and you're kind of pushing it into the main branch of like Hacktober. You're not really pushing it, you're just sending a request, a pull request to so that the maintainers can push it into that branch, into the main branch of the original repository. So you can add like relevant relevant things in here, like whatever, like your description has to be cleaner too. So just add whatever you want to add. If you want to add additional things like Python is awesome or something like that, that would be nice too. Once you do this, make sure you have allow edits by maintainers checked. And then once that's done, you just click create pull request. Okay, now that you've done this, if you see, it's switched back to Women Who Code Hacktoberfest, and it's not in my current fork anymore. And if you see this, it says, I want to merge one commit into Women Who Code main from my name and then this branch. So basically, this is our PR, okay? And if you look at files changed, it'll have your backend stories.json, and then you'll have like whatever you changed here, and then it'll show, it'll show you even the commits. If you click on commits, like I mentioned, adding content to stories.json, that's in here. And then people can, like, there are many things that could be done here. People could like choose to review your code like this. They can click, they can click portions of your code where they want to review. And then after all of that stuff is done, the maintainers, they'll have their own process to merge the created pull requests.
So basically what I wanted to do, I also wanted to run the app locally, but we can do it a little bit later. I'll add a video to the README where, which shows all of our contributions once our PRs have been merged in. So basically, I just wanted to quickly talk about why open source, right? Why is it such a big deal? Why are people wanting to do it? The thing is, we use a lot of these important tools in our day-to-day life, and there's nobody to maintain those tools. We were having a conversation about this just a few days before within the within leadership folks. We were talking about how important this is. We just use the tools that are out there that are completely free to us, and we can look at source code and everything, but we don't take the time to give back to the community. And so it's very important to, even if it's a small thing, it doesn't have to be a huge, wait, let me get the chat up because I feel like I've missed you, missed some of you. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel, if you feel like you're not ready or something, it's totally okay. Whatever you feel like doing, if it's non-code, if it's code, whatever you want to do, just continue to contribute to open source and continue to help the tech community grow, and keep beloved projects that are open source, help keep it up to date. Okay. And what Hacktoberfest is not, because this is the last slide, I swear. There's nothing else after this, but Hacktoberfest is not a competition where you have to submit all the 4 pull requests, otherwise you're not good enough to be in tech. No, it's not. It's totally not like that, and it's not a measure of your speed or technical skills, or it's just it's just kind of a way to learn new things, and not take it in a way that is completely based on incentives or completely based on people gating and being these people shouldn't contribute and stuff like that. And if people are discouraging, that's also not in the spirit of Hacktoberfest. So everybody has a valuable place in it and can contribute whatever they can. And then the next thing comes to the whole we all love swag. I love swag. Everybody does. But some people take it to another level where they put up spam requests, spam PRs, just because they want to get swag. And that's not really in the spirit of Hacktoberfest and in general open source, because what did you learn from it other than trying to kind of like spam a repository, right? Like just to get stuff. So yeah, those things, that is also completely like not in the spirit of Hacktoberfest. You can, like, if you learn something from even a small thing that you do, it gives someone satisfaction, and that is what we want from this. And then yeah, that's true. If you just put up like random things, if you spam repositories with like bots and stuff, people are actually like working hard and like working on a small like really nice pull request, and then you're just there like taking all of that away, and the maintainers have a headache because they're trying to like go through all of this spam, and they have to set up workflows to avoid spam. It's a whole thing, so we shouldn't do it for that. And then the journey and what we learn is most valuable. That's true. The journey that like we go through in creating a pull request. Right now, you saw what we did, right? Like we learned so many things. We learned how to create a pull request. We like through like the entire process, and we also learned about what like briefly about what is JSON and how to add content into a JSON file. And I wanted to go deeper into the architecture of the app, but we could do it some other time. So we learned so many things just in this 2 hours. And again, it doesn't have to stop here, or it doesn't have to stop to just this month. You have like a whole year to do different things. There are like, I don't even know the number of repositories in GitHub that are completely open source. Just go into one of it, find, I forgot to mention it here, but definitely go to the resources for beginners portion in Hacktoberfest, and then they would have mentioned places where you can find good first issues. So in general, maintainers have many labels, and like they will label each issue. There are like issues are if there's a bug or something in a project, somebody else will open an issue saying, hey, this is wrong, this is the system this error is happening in, what should we do? And so the maintainers will look at it, they will see if it's a bug or not, and they will add labels to it. Like suppose this is a very severe issue, they'd be like, oh, high severity or whatever. So they also have labels for beginners. So there's labels called good first issue, or first timers wanted, or things like that. If you look at the resources for beginners in the Hacktoberfest website, they have all of these details. Like if you click on the links and study or like look at them, you'll find it. So that's what I wanted to say. And wait, yeah, have everybody. And yeah, so I've also linked some stuff here. And these are just things that you can maybe check out. And I've put up this link to check out other repositories in GitHub. These are like, so if you have the Hacktoberfest topics are kind of like, let's see. If you look at this is like if you look at this portion, it says Hacktoberfest. So these any repository that has this, they're participating in Hacktoberfest actively. So see, yeah. So I have these like access stuff. So I wonder if it's, yeah, I wonder if somebody forked my.
That might have been me. So you can ignore that.
No worries. Okay. So where was I? Yeah. So basically, just explore things, find a project that you kind of like. There's so many out there. Just find it. Look at the README. First, look at the README. Look at the contributing.md. Figure out like what the process is for that project, and then you're set to go. Find out the labels. Like once you go through a couple of repositories like this, you'll understand a pattern and you'll feel like, okay, so I have to check these things when I go to a repository if it like really works with me, you know?